I am very excited to be here today to have a conversation with my fellow executive female leader. And today we are digging into what it takes to build an internal culture and environment that really supports the whole human health and wellness. And to me, empowering health and wellness really means giving our teams the confidence to put their oxygen masks on first, right? We cannot create amazing work for our clients if we're constantly running on empty day in and day out ourselves. And that can get really easy to do. I think the reality is we work in a really fast paced environment. Just think about our life science clients, for example. The clock does not stop as we're leading up to FDA approvals. There's deliverables, there's submissions, and there's deadlines. And I think it can often feel like we have to be expending all of our energy on delivering all that great work and putting our own needs in the back seat. And while we absolutely need and want to be creating great work for our clients, the opposite is going to happen if we aren't finding those ways to really sustain our energy and really stop grinding out day in and day out.
I think one of the things that we try really hard to do is match that customer experience with how people feel internally. And so when I think about health and wellness, I know it's a term that gets used a lot, and sometimes it is a little overused without actually defining what it is. So I'm glad we're doing that today. But I think it's the idea of how does a person feel when they log on the computer in the morning? How do they feel when they're going to meetings, when they're going to work? In addition to how they feel outside of it, and how do we support them to feel healthy, energized, engaged? We are at work a significant part of our lives. And again, a lot of people talk about this, but I think sometimes we really need to think about, especially as leaders, how are we enabling that time for people to not only do great work, but to also feel good about it, and support people as humans and not just as employees. And, that really does translate, I know, for us to a culture of people feeling supported with their health and wellness internally and externally, and then also in turn helps them support our clients that are also doing great work.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Erica, you recently said something that has stuck with me, and that our culture is built intentionally, not accidentally. And in this fast-paced environment that we live and breathe, how do we keep that alive? Like, what does health and happiness look like on a random Tuesday morning?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of the things that I'm sure you've heard me talk about, or I've talked about publicly, is that culture, the way that I view it is culture is an output of the way that we work and how we align things within the business. And so we think about it the same way for, health and wellness is, are we aligning to our North Star of inspiring health? And what does that look like for us? So, I think what a lot of employers do, and it's well-intentioned, is they have this platter of things that has a bunch of stuff on it, and they kind of hand it over to the employee and say, okay, here you go. Here's health and wellness. We've checked it off. But I think the way that we think about it is going through each item, initiative, program, and saying, does this really add to somebody's health and wellness at Merge? Is there value here? Is this what people want? I think a lot of times we make assumptions about what people want in terms of how they feel better for their own health and wellness. And so we really look at that alignment piece. We are building something, we are just showcasing or handing over something, is that we are aligning, and we want everything to come together in a way when we look at values, leadership behaviors, systems, ways of working. Those all reinforce what your culture actually is. And so a few things for us that make sense and that we look at is people at Merge really value flexibility. That is one of the most important things that we hear is flexibility, but the subtext of that is trust to manage their workday, to understand that not everybody works the same, and that really makes people feel supported, that they can also have their personal life and feel supported in their personal life while still doing the work that matters for Merge. Designing benefits for people that in terms of how they want to have benefits. Again, this is something that typically gets kind of handed over, but how are people living and working, and what does it look like for them to see benefits that reflect the things that they're looking for in a workplace, in a culture. And also holding leaders accountable. I think this is an important thing that every company should be looking at is getting those feedback loops, taking action and tweaking along the way. I think, Jean, we've talked about this is, we're constantly in an evolution because we're constantly adding new inputs into the system, and especially for comprehensive health and wellness, that is something that we're always looking at and making sure that we are aligning to kind of the whole human again and our North Star of inspiring health and wellness.
I think it's really nice to think about how that balances with the client experience when we think about our teams that are servicing our clients day in and day out, right? They need to feel that balance. When they feel that, I think the creativity comes through loud and clear. So knowing that they've got that personal support and all of the flexibility that we offer them, that then can translate into the output of the great work that we do, and really helps to put the soul behind the work for our clients.
So, Jean, the idea of the consumer as the whole human applies to employees. That's what we've been talking about. And we know that employees and individuals are multifaceted, so they have different needs, rhythms, goals. How do we approach operations in a way that empowers female team members and honestly all team members as whole humans?
Yeah, so we partner with brands across the health and lifestyle ecosystem, and our work really does demand collaboration, creativity, and we need efficiencies in order to sustain that high level of performance. And I really believe that it comes down to protecting our most valuable resource, which is our focus. And you've heard me talk about our focus formula. It's really our way of making sure that we aren't just busy for busy's sake, and really trying to clear the air and clear the noise so that people can do work and focus on work that really matters. And if we're constantly in back-to-back meetings, we aren't healthy. And we need to be looking at how we collaborate together, how we use our tools, and really how we respect each other's boundaries. And I think if we are creating that white space in the calendar, that's going to allow people the room to breathe and to think. And we want Merge to be a place where you don't have to choose between being a high performer and being a healthy human.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I love the idea, the word you use that really stands out to me is the boundaries. And sometimes people view that as a negative thing, but I think when we have boundaries of our time and our energy, it's better for everybody in the long run. And so I love that you use that word, because I think that often gets left out when we talk about health and wellness and thinking about how do we protect some of our space and thinking energy that also benefits Merge and our clients, to be honest, if somebody has the space to think through that.
The word boundary can sometimes be seen as this negative word, right? And people are afraid to create those boundaries for themselves. And I think that that's one of the most important things that people can be doing to create that safe space. So absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and just with the pace of work right now, I think everybody's feeling it just across the entire workforce. It's just the pace is really picked up with technology and everything that's going on, and thinking through, running very fast, but also kind of protecting those little pockets where you can, and some of that creativity and just time for your own thinking and for your own health and wellness. I think as we move through Women's Health Month, I want to actually challenge everyone listening to also take that space, to put that boundary for yourself, to protect some of your energy and your health and your wellness. And if you see a colleague that's underwater, reach out. If you know a peer that needs to take time away for either a family obligation or a personal health or wellness need, please give them the trust and space to do so. I think it's really important, and it means a lot when you're on the other side of that and somebody kind of extends that grace and that courtesy. Thanks, Jean. I think this has been a great conversation, and happy Women's Health Month.
Absolutely. Thank you.